Greetings and felicitations.
Hip hip hurrah, tally ho.
Hey Cutie Pie.
Hey Pin.
Tonight we're going to talk about Star Trek maps. This was produced in 1980. These are the navigational charts of the 5-year voyage of the Starship Enterprise. We notice on the cover of this folio, it shows the original series Enterprise, NCC 1701. It's actually a model kit if you look at it close enough. What do you think about having something from the original series produced around the time of the motion picture? Why do you think they did that?
Yeah, that's interesting. You would think they would use the refit model from the motion picture, but it must have been because if this was published in 1980, they were getting it together probably in 78, 79, and they just couldn't get the all the information from the movie to put in here on time to get it published.
Now, if you're a collector, make sure when you buy this set, it's going to be 2 maps actually, 2 double-sided maps, so a total of 4. But make sure you get the Introduction to Navigation, this booklet in here. This booklet has so much information. It's almost reading as if you were going to pilot the Enterprise.
It's very technical. It talks about coordinates and things, and it's like, yeah, you would need it like if you were really flying through space, you would need this to see the geometry and the astronomical units and everything.
So I think about this when we see either Sulu or Chekhov, anyone at the helm, calculating to go to different systems, to go to different planets. This is the math and the technology that they would use.
Yes, and to think that back then on the original series they didn't use holograms like stellar cartography has now on Voyager and in the movies when they had it. So back then when the original series was made, it looks like all they did was use the computer calculations.
Also in this guide, and this is very useful when looking over the map, it's going to break down different systems and different planets. So when you look up a planet on the map, you research in here, and it'll tell you something about the planet. And it breaks it down for whether there's some danger on the planet, where there's warnings to the planet, where it's prohibited to go to the planet. All things that we know from the Star Trek universe, such as Axanar, the first planet of 3 orbiting a yellow dwarf. Axanar supports a primitive native population. Melkot. Melkot is the second of 6 planets orbiting the home of intelligent non-humanoid race. It's prohibited. The Melkotians. Gideon. It just goes on and on. So if you love the original series, you'll love looking through this. Let's check out the maps. The first thing that we notice is that they did an incredible job of recreating this map that we saw in Balance of Terror.
I love how they used the same map that they showed in the episode. And also notice that for the Romulan Star Empire, you see that symbol. That was the symbol they used to use for the Romulans on the original series. You could see it sometimes in the background, and it's all but forgotten now.
That's a good point, because now whenever we see a Romulan symbol, it's always blue and green, and it's going to be the bird holding 2 worlds.
Yes.
So that's this symbol here. Then there's a reference to the Klingon Empire. And these are different systems.
And these are all familiar. If you watch the original series, of course they've got Sol, so our system, but all the planets they've mentioned on the series, Triskelion, Talos, and you can see how the planets have such unique orbits, which we didn't see that on the show. They just sort of described it.
Now, when you look at the maps and you compare the charts that are found in the navigation guide, it explains why each map looks different is because you're looking at it from a different plane, a different view. So they might be close together from one view, but because of the X, Y, and Z axis, they're going to be farther apart if you look at it from what we would consider a side view, a bottom view, what have you. And there's even Easter eggs in here if you look around, like Asimov.
And they had a Roddenberry planet too, somewhere.
We're going to notice this chart on the side. Purple means a danger area. Notable objects. When we see this light blue, it means something happened in the original series that we could follow along with.
So on the map, you see that danger area. It's a triangular shape right there. I mean, so that's basically like the Bermuda Triangle. They're calling it the Delta Triangle.
Here's Gothos.
Yeah, a lot of familiar planets. And also up at the top of this one, you see part of Romulan space. And see, that's what they're showing here, is that Romulan space actually goes into Federation space a little bit. Oh, and up there too, First Federation to the left. So that's from the Corbomite maneuver. Where they had the First Federation. So that's on the map too. They probably have everything that was ever mentioned on the original series.
And we hear the phrase Enterprise Patrol. You know, Enterprise is on patrol. This is the normal route, so you're able to follow that. Let's look at the other side. This is the Rigel star system, more star systems that we're able to look at close up. And also the planets that are most notable in relation to each other, such as Vulcan is much larger than Earth.
And this is neat, showing the planets the way they were on the original series. And, you know, so it's not the remastered versions. These are the original versions. And it's got Yonada there too, the fake asteroid, which... So planetary size, I mean, it looks like it is a good size, a good enough size to be a planet. And here they show the cutout of space, so you can see that this is the part that the map shows. Now, see, they do have something called Wise's star. And I was wondering, like, okay, was it named after Robert Wise, who directed the motion picture? They've got a star desert on here.
Now the charts on this map are interesting because it gives us most notable ships that are found in the original series.
So it shows the ships and also a little description. And of course, this is not to scale, as you can tell, but it is neat to see these. I mean, and back then, you know, this was rare to get to see all of these things on a picture and actually have it where you could sit in front of it and study it. And they've got the Kzinti from the original series, or from the animated series.
I like the fact that they included both original and animated series, and they're giving us an idea of how it works together. And also planetary classifications. Understanding what the surface is like, the atmosphere, and a description.
So it's got M class, which we're very familiar with as Earth type, and it says example is Terra. And this one, you'll see on the star map, it has quadrants. These are the quadrants of Federation space. It's not what we think of now as the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta quadrants, because those were the quadrants of the whole galaxy. So this map breaks up quadrants of the Federation. This one shows more quadrants. Quadrant, 0 and 1 and 2. I think 0 is where Earth is. Let's see, it should be the center. And it's got Illyria, which is, we know now that's where number 1 is from, Pike's number 1, on Strange New Worlds. So it's interesting. So this is Triskelion. So they're saying Triskelion was in Federation space. This map has at the top United Federation of Planets because it's their quadrants. So they must have still had some unexplored planets within their space, because they had probably annexed some of the planets around the area.
Yeah, this is a great item for any Star Trek collector's personal collection. Check us out, StarPodTrek. We're on Facebook, Twitter, all over social media, and we have a podcast because we love classic Trek.